the scene that forced people to whistle in the theater. But do you know where this epic chariot concept came from? Actually, SS Rajmouli got the inspiration for this chariot from an old design of Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci, who never went to school and did not take formal education, he had designed a chariot like this a long time ago. He thought at that time that there would be a chariot in which 4 big blades would be attached. Each blade would be about 1 meter long. And 4 horses would pull this chariot. And 3 people would be able to sit in this chariot. People have made the model of this design in action. The specialty of this chariot is that if you are sitting in this chariot and the king of another country is sitting on the other side, which is being protected by many of his soldiers, then you can directly reach that king. And whoever comes in the middle, he will keep doing it from that plate. This was one of the innovations of Leonardo's thousands of innovations. And that's why Mukesh Ambani is also a fan of Leonardo da Vinci.
Non-fiction I'm reading, there's a great book that's come on Leonardo da Vinci.
By Walter Isaacson.
By Isaacson. He's my favorite author, so I read everything that he is.
And this is exactly the reason that Bill Gates bought Leonardo da Vinci's book for 240 crore rupees. Today, we're gonna check out some of the coolest designs from Da Vinci's thousands of sketches, in which his first design was an overbalanced wheel. To understand this wheel, today's scientists have done a lot of research. This is called perpetual motion in physics. Spatial motion simply means a machine that moves without any energy. Many scientists have worked on it, but it never came to be. Because according to the laws of physics, you will lose energy every time. And if you want continuous motion, then you will have to spend some energy in it. And Leonardo da Vinci's overbalanced wheel represents this design. He was thinking at that time that can there be a machine that keeps on rotating? Leonardo thought that if there is always more weight on one side of the wheel, which keeps on shifting, then the wheel can always rotate in the same direction by itself. This idea was very genius at that time. Although the design you are seeing on the screen right now, it is not actually rotating continuously just because of the weight. There are cells in the box below it. But still, some 300,400 years. His next genius work is heart dissection. This is the diagram of the heart that is studied in today's textbooks, which we all must have seen in school. But these are Leonardo da Vinci's sketches, which he made around 1500s. At a time when it was difficult for humans to think so much in detail, just imagine Leonardo understood this complex functioning inside the heart when people only focused on what they could see from the outside. But Leonardo was way ahead of the game. He was always curious and wanted to know what's inside a person. He would secretly go to the graveyard at night, take out the dead people's bodies and start dissecting them. And make exact sketches of it, which we can see here. Back then, people thought that the valves in the heart just opened and closed due to pressure. But Leonardo saw that when blood passes through the heart and goes to the aorta, it makes a swirling type motion. Just like the swirls that occur in rivers. He also made swirling water patterns in his sketches. And he also saw the same pattern inside a person's heart. Now, the most interesting thing in the story of heart dissection is that, just imagine. On one side, you are making an accurate diagram of the muscles and walls of your heart in your notebook. And on the other side, in the corner of the same page, you are making a cartoon of your assistant. And the maximum number of people among us. He did this while getting bored in his school lectures, and the exact same thing has been seen in Leonardo's sketches. This shows that on one hand, he was a really curious person who did deep studies. But they were also a bit playful. 500 years ago he gave the next genius design, that was wall protection. Look at Leonardo, a famous politician of Italy. Borgia had kept him as his military engineer. Leonardo was given a mission that he had to make the city's defense stronger so that the enemy could not easily come to the walls of the fort. To save this fort, Leonardo thought that what would happen if the enemy took the stairs and jumped on the walls of his fort. How can this be saved? And that is why Leonardo made this design, whose model we can see here. As soon as the enemy uses the stairs to try to cross the wall, these levers will be activated, which will move these rails to the other side of the wall, which will make the stairs unstable and the enemy's soldiers will fall down. Today we see anti-climb. Spikes and electronic systems on modern walls, but imagine all this was in Leonardo's mind 500 years ago. He was a great visionary. If there was an award at that time, he would definitely get it. His next very famous design was this satellite map. This Google map that you are seeing on the screen is from 2024, in which we will not find anything special. But Leonardo da Vinci made a similar map in 1502. It's a very interesting story. Look at the Italian politician Borgia at that time. He understood the capability of Leonardo. He called Leonardo and said that you will help us in military engineering. Borgia's new area Imola was in his hands. And Leonardo was given the task that he would understand the terrain of the whole city. That is, which street goes where, what are the roads around the fort, so that it is clear from where to exit in the time of the enemy's attack. All the old maps at that time were made by someone from far away, who did not get any clarity. Leonardo thought about this problem, that how can he make a very good map? He came up with an amazing idea. He used a simple disc that could measure degrees. Just like we use a compass to understand north, south, east, and west. Made an odometer, a device which has small wheels attached to it. A device for measuring distances they just wanted to figure out. When they reached a corner with their little wheels, once they got that measurement, they could sketch it out on a map. As soon as he got this method, after understanding this concept, he went to every road in Leonardo's city, where the road was also turning. He kept noting its angle and kept making this map on paper. Whenever the road was turning twice, he also measured the distance between them almost accurately. And he did this with the help of a rope. We can also guess his genius from the fact that when Leonardo made this map of Imola, at that time, no one was able to verify whether it was the right map or the wrong map. Because there was no such technology at all. So this is what we learn from Leonardo's story. If we don't have this technology, but if we have creativity, we can solve big problems. Just like Einstein said, imagination is more powerful than intelligence. Next most important part is flying machine. Think, in 1903, many people were making fun of Wright brothers, saying that these two guys with a bike shop would never be able to build a plane. But they actually made a successful airplane. In 1903, doing all these things was a big deal in itself. But someone was thinking the same thing 400 years ago and making its designs. That is even more amazing. Leonardo da Vinci was sure that man can fly in the air, like birds fly. He always thought that if we make big mechanical wings, then it will become possible. This design was made around 1485, when religious books were also written that man will never fly. At that time, Leonardo imagined all this. This is his small model, which you can see here on the screen. Apart from this, he made many designs related to flying. At that time, all this thinking is exactly the same as Elon Musk thought 15 years ago that he should go to Mars. The next design of Leonardo is a tank. This tank that we are seeing is the modern warfare tank of today. The first prototype of the modern tank came in 1916 during World War I, when the British made a tank named Little Willie. But some 400 years ago, Leonardo da Vinci was giving this kind of design, who had never taken formal education. This is Leonardo's original design for a tank that could provide 360 protection. Its shape was like a disc in which he had imagined that there would be soldiers. Gears and handles would be installed in it and soldiers would be controlling it from inside. At that time there was no metal fabrication, so Leonardo was imagining that this tank would be made of wood. A few years ago, people created a model of this design in an actual vehicle. They made some improvements to it and it actually worked. Even more interesting is that in these designs, Leonardo had given the concept of the mechanism of gears, which is still used in engineering, from cycles to cars, in everything. Think about it, the 15th century was a time when if you had to lift a heavy stone, you had to lift everyone. It seemed that only the strongest man could lift the heaviest stone. If you want to lift a very heavy stone, you will need a lot of people. But at that time, Leonardo da Vinci thought about what mechanism could be made to make this work very easy. And he made a simple pulley system. This system was such that even one person could lift the weight that an entire team could not lift before. Think about the wooden structure, whose model and images we can see here. All this is taught to us in physics in pulley system +1. That how many pulleys will be applied to reduce its weight in action. And the most interesting thing is that many people who are taught this subject, they also cannot calculate exactly that how much weight you will have to lift from how many pulleys in action. And all these things, in the 15th century, some such person is thinking who is formed.